Last video, I covered all of the basic operations of math, but we can't forget about the other ways to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Often called long of its type, is when the two values being operated on are arranged with a horizontal line. All of these methods utilize the base 10 properties of numbers to turn otherwise complex operations into a series of simple steps. First, long addition, shown with this notation. It won't result in a different value than normal addition, but they're arranged so it's easy to add the respective places together, digit by digit. So you can rearrange the 347 into 340 and 7, and the 534 into 530 and 4. Then you can add each digit up. So 7 plus 4 gets you to 11, and then you can split that again into 10 and 1. You can add all this together to get 80. Then you can add the 300 and 500 to get 800. Then you add it all together to get 881. Here's how it looks like if you're actually using the notation. So first, you'll add 7 and 4, and you'll get 11. So there's 1 here, and then you'll carry the extra 10 to the next place. Then you'll add all this up. 1 plus 4 plus 3 gets you to 8. And then you'll add the last row, taking you to 881. Here is another example where we add 1 to a 0, and then it becomes 4. And also, even when the 8 plus 5, there's nothing to carry it to, that means you'll just write the 13 out on the bottom. And if a number is bigger than the other, you'll just assume that there's a 0 here. Long subtraction works very similarly. You can turn it into each of its parts, and then do each subtraction. But we can't subtract a bigger number from a smaller number, so we'll have to borrow from the place above it, and then we can do the subtraction. And we'll continue doing that until all of the subtractions can be made, and we'll get 100 plus 80 plus 7, which gets us to 187. Here's how it looks like using the notation. So first, we'll do 4 minus 7, so we can't do that directly, so we'll have to borrow from this 3. So we'll make that a 2, and add 10 to make it 14, and 14 minus 7 gets us 7. Then we're going to do 2 minus 4, can't do that directly, so we'll have to borrow from the next place and add 10. Now we'll just do the 12 minus 4, that gets us 8. Finally, we have 4 minus 3, and that gets us 1, so 187. Something to note is it only works when you're actually subtracting to get a positive number. If it's the other way around, it won't work, and you'll have to flip it and just make the final answer negative. Next, long multiplication. It operates a very similar way, except it uses the distributive property, so you only have to do single-digit multiplications. So, given this, we can arrange 47 into 40 and 7, and then distribute it. And then we'll distribute the 534 into 530 and 4. So we'll get these 6 additions and 6 multiplications. Then we'll just multiply them all out, add them together, and then add the final 2 results. And that will be our answer. So here's what it looks like using the notation. First, we'll do 7 times 4. That gets us 28, so we'll have 8 and then carry a 2. Then we'll do 7 times 3. That gets us 21, and then we'll add this extra 2 we were saving. So that gets us 23. So the 3 goes here, the 2 goes here. Then 7 times 5. That gets us 35, plus 2, 37. Now we're going to work with the 4, but first we're going to have to erase or cross out what we just did. And then because we're working with 40, because this is going to be a 0, we'll add a 0, so then everything is multiplied by 10. Then we'll just do what we did before. 4 times 4 gets us 16, so we keep the 6, carry the 1. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1, 13. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1, 21. Then we just add these two numbers, and we get 25,098. Finally, long division. This would say 826 divided by 7. And when you're doing long division, you're essentially just splitting it into the divisor times the biggest power of 10 you can, and then just subtracting it. And then you'll continue doing that until you get 0. So first, 700, you'll take it out, becomes 700 divided by 7 plus 126 divided by 7. That's just 100. And then you'll split 126 into 70 divided by 7 plus 56 divided by 7. Those are just going to give you numbers, so it would be 100 plus 10 plus 8, 118. So here's how it looks like actually using the notation. So first, we'll set up the 826 divided by 7. Then we'll think, how many times can we fit 7 into 8? One time. And then we'll subtract 1 7. We'll get 1. Then we'll bring down the next digit. And we'll think, how many times can we fit 7 into 12? Again, 1 time. So we add 1 to the top, and we'll subtract 1 7. That gets us 5. Then we bring down the next digit, and we think, how many times can 7 fit inside 56? It can fit 8 times, so we'll subtract 8 sevenths. We end up with 0, so 826 divided by 7 gets us 118. Now, something to note is if we have a number that won't divide evenly, like divided by 3, then we might end up with a remainder. So after you do all your steps, you'll end up with 725, but you'll be left with a 1 with no more digits to bring down. In that case, we'll just mark it as remainder 1. And what this means is that 826 divided by 3 is equal to 725 and 1/3. In summary, all long operations involve splitting numbers into their digits power of 10, and then doing easier operations with the lower values. Thank you for watching.